Am I the asshole? Calling out a friend's divorce because she wouldn't leave my husband alone. My husband works with a girl named Lucy who also happens to be part of our social circle. I wouldn't say she's close to us, but she's a close friend of a friend, so we'll see her once in a while when there are group outings. She also works with my husband John. And I guess because we also see her outside of work, she thinks she's super close to my husband. I'm not a super jealous type, but I drew a line when my husband himself voiced discomfort at Lucy's behavior. She likes to make jokes about being his work wife. Try and push me out of conversations with my husband, i.e. you weren't at the office, so you wouldn't understand. And has tried to initiated one-on-one hangouts with my husband. John has turned her down, and has also explicitly told her that she was making him feel uncomfortable and to stop. She's just laughed and brushed it off, and still continues. He hasn't brought it up to work yet because she's a single mom and he didn't want to get her in trouble. Her advances have mostly been just annoying. But it recently escalated, which brings us to the issue. At a barbecue, my husband was sitting around a fire pit with his friends. I got up to get food, and I came back right as Lucy came and sat down on my husband's lap while joking. Your work wife can entertain you while your normal wife is busy. This was the first time she made a physical advance. And my husband immediately jumped up and pushed her off. She laughed and told him to stop being so sensitive. And I could tell it embarrassed my husband. It was at this point that I told her, maybe if you had focused more on being a real wife instead of a work wife, you wouldn't be divorced. Lucy immediately left the party after that. And I found out from our friend that she cried in her car. She's since skipped and avoided all events where I'm there with my husband, which has caused a strain with our mutual friend. Most of our other friends were on my side, but some said I was too harsh and that Lucy was just kidding around. Not the asshole. Lucy crossed a big line and needed to be put in her place. Publicly. It's probably the only way you and your husband could get her to stop. Bold and brazen while trying to cloak it as a joke. Wow. Not the asshole. Lucy is trying to steal your husband. Thankfully he's a good guy and isn't having it. Time for him to go to HR. There's a non-zero chance that she'll go first and report him for harassment. Good luck. Not the asshole. Lucy is lucky that she just felt your wrath rather than your husband going to HR like he should. I understand completely why your husband doesn't want to. There are probably two reasons. One, he really doesn't want her to get in trouble, and two, it's embarrassing for a man to say they are being sexually harassed. You should probably tell your husband that he needs to go to HR about it. She shouldn't lose her job over one instance, and she'll hopefully learn a very valuable lesson. Sexual harassment in the workplace isn't a game. Not the asshole. She was sexually harassing your husband. And not for the first time. Your comment was harsh. But that's apparently the only way to get her attention. She wasn't taking no for an answer. She needed to be called out. And harshly. Not the asshole. She was told it made him uncomfortable. Her feelings on the matter no longer matter. It's the risk you take when you ignore polite boundaries. She taught you both that she wasn't going to stop. So you called her out. Natural consequence. She seems extremely insecure. Some said I was too harsh and that Lucy was just kidding around. Then go hop on their man's crotch and see if they laugh. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Whether it's due to her feeling insecure because of a divorce, or unrequited feelings towards your husband, None of Lucy's behavior is okay. Your husband has told her that he's not okay with her behavior. If this was a guy doing it to a girl, the shouts of sexual harassment would be far and wide. Just because a woman is the aggressor doesn't make it less offensive or wrong. Not the asshole. I never thought this type of burning could happen at a barbecue lol. On a more serious note, she was making your husband uncomfortable and he has voiced it multiple times. In all honesty, if he hasn't already, he should talk to HR if possible. Had the genders been reversed, Lucy would probably not have many people in her corner, if any. Not the asshole. The moment she plopped her butt in your husband's lap was the moment she gave up the right to be taken aside and told what she was doing was wrong. You were a lot nicer than I would have been in that situation. Not the asshole. Her gross behavior needed to be stopped. Tar and shame on your mutual friend for saying that was acceptable. She's made comments and was asked to stop. She escalated things and got physical. Then she's embarrassed about getting called out. Playing dumb games. Win dumb prizes. You were quick-witted and way more calm than I would have been. Not the asshole. Lucy is weird. Not the asshole. Lucy sounds unhinged. Honestly. Sorry you and your husband have to deal with that. Not the asshole. She's repeatedly ignored your husband's requests to back off. It was time you or your husband told her to cut it out. Not the asshole. She is literally sexually harassing your husband. The two of you would only be TA to yourselves for not contacting HR about this. Her behavior is absolutely inexcusable. Imagine if a man did this to a woman. Your husband's harassment is only getting worse, and frankly, people who sexually harass their coworkers deserve nothing short of being fired and publicly humiliated. Tar. You did the right thing. She's way out of line and desperate. If she persists with harassing your husband, report her to their HRD. That's unbecoming. Not the asshole. Sitting on his lap and making the comment that she would entertain him while his wife was busy. Crossed the line. So far over the line she can't see the line in the distance. Especially when OP's husband had told her before that her bet was not welcomed. None of her behavior was kidding around, and if the idiot house said that had someone behaving the same way towards their partner, they wouldn't be saying that it is kidding around. Not the asshole. Your husband needs to talk to HR at this point. Because there's every possibility that Lucy decides to go there first and make some shit up now that she's been so directly called out. Fuck around, met, find out, brilliantly handled, and way to stand up for your husband. Not the asshole. You've done nothing wrong. Lucy is the biggest asshole in all of this. But your husband is also an asshole for not notifying HR. There are ways to do it without consequences for Lucy. And he should have done that much sooner. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Let's call it what it is: sexual harassment. It isn't different because he is a man. I love the comeback. Not the asshole. What she's doing is sexual harassment, and TBH, she's lucky you called her out before it got her in hot water at work. The result of that would have been much worse. Not the asshole. Hubby should be documenting her behavior and reporting it at work. Not the asshole, and he needs to report her to our. Honestly don't care that she's a single mom. Her behavior is harassment, and in HR world can be viewed as sexual harassment, especially if she makes a physical advance like that at a work function or at work. If she gets fired, it's through her own actions, not your husband's. Also, that's a good comeback.
The Taco Bell diarrhea joke is overused and painfully unfunny. You know what I'm talking about. I just ate Taco Bell. Oh boy, you'll have fun on the toilet later. Say goodbye to your colon. You'll be chugging Pepto tonight. Diarrhea hardy ha ha duh. It might have been funny the first time someone said it. If you repeat it after millions of times, it shows your brain is the size of a peanut and you lack any self-awareness or creativity. You also probably should be deported from Earth. Do better. Taco Bell has never given me any stomach issues, so never got this one lol. Upvote for unpopular, but personally I've never had that happen from Taco Bell. If anything, I've had the opposite issue after eating it. I saw something a few years back that showed that Taco Bell's actually has some of the most whole ingredients compared to other major fast food chains. I don't even understand it. I have never had an actual problem eating food at Taco Bell. Guess I have a stomach of steel, am I right? I agree. If you can't eat a taco without getting diarrhea, you should condor it a doctor. I like how sick and tired OP is. This isn't a hot take because it's unpopular, it's hot because he is done. He's had enough. One more T-Bell diarrhea joke and he is gonna snap. I've never had the runs with TB, so I never understood or found it funny. It's disgusting. Taco Bell is great when you have the munchies. Especially the Doritos tacos. Taco Bell does nothing to me and I've had Crohn's since I was 13. Taco Bell is my preferred fast food joint and it's never been a problem. I eat there before long trips because I know the food isn't going to mess up my stomach and make me pull over. I love Taco Bell and have never had a problem after eating it. I'd go as far as to say it's my second favorite fast food behind Freddy's. This has never happened to me after eating at Taco Bell. Or Chipotle, for that matter, even though South Park made a whole episode about how it makes you shit blood. LOL, I'm surfing Reddit while eating a volcano combo and I got this thread. Add me to the list of people who eat Taco Bell and don't get the shits. I have heard of more formal investigations and lawsuits over the E. coli issues of Chipotle than any single incident of Taco Bell leading to a bout of diarrhea. Taco Bell may not be authentic, but at least they have some quality control. Yeah, and it doesn't stop with Taco Bell, they apply it to Mexican food oftentimes too. I have never had one problem with Taco Bell. Are you just not used to that much fiber in your diet? Jokes on the people who say this Taco Bell is the only restaurant to survive the franchise wars. I wish Taco Bell felt the same way about giving me diarrhea. I unknowingly stopped eating fast food when I moved away from home at 18. A couple years later I realized. Oh shit, I haven't had fast food in a while, let's go to Taco Bell. I spent the whole next day pretty much in the bathroom. I didn't know I could lose that much water. I eat Taco Bell when I want something I know is not going to upset my stomach. Sounds like something Taco Bell would say. And honestly, not everyone has problems with Taco Bell, I don't. I think people with irritable bowels made up this joke or something. Same with Chipotle. I love the South Park episode where Cartman eats Chipotle and uses Chipotle away, but honestly I always thought Chipotle was one of the nicer fast food places. LOL, I've never had problems there. Ironically, Taco Bell has never given me any issues, but Del Taco on the other hand. Taco Bell CEO made a Reddit account. I've never had digestive issues with Taco Bell. It's low-quality food for sure, but it's also pretty safe from a digestive standpoint. The whole Taco Bell gives you the shits thing is completely removed from reality IMO, and the people who try to make those jokes just come off as idiots. Giggle, but that's a popular opinion, I reckon. The cultural fixation with defecation is a sad commentary on us. I mean, if anything, it's Panda Express. No fast food has ever given me stomach issues. I only had issues once with mild food poisoning from the ground beef over 20 years ago. I've since forgiven Taco Bell. I actually love Taco Bell. I really wish they'd bring back their caramel apple empanadas though. I've never gotten diarrhea from Taco Bell either. Nor it gets Myers committing suicide for me. I don't use the joke though because everyone's body is different, but it does not sit well with me no matter what I get. I don't have this with Taco Bell. KFC is my enemy. What are people even eating at Taco Bell that they gave stomach issues? I have never had that issue. I am convinced people get diarrhea from Taco Bell because the beans in their burritos are the only fiber they've ever eaten, and it's too much for their bodies to handle. You're right. We should change it to Arby's. I would like to do better, but I just had some Taco Bell and I'm rather confined to the toilet ATM. Painfully. LOL. Taco Bell has never had any ill effect on me. I've never even gotten diarrhea after Taco Bell. I can eat Taco Bell without incident. These jokes, like most, are extremely overused and not funny. I have chronic stomach issues and I've never had issues with Taco Bell. I don't think I ever had any memorable explosive bathroom experiences after eating Taco Bell, so it never resonated with me to begin with. Guy with Ron Burgundy in username complains about unoriginal jokes. Ha ha ha, do better. Taco Bell is always my go-to for fast food. Obviously no fast food is healthy, but it's easier to find semi-healthy, lower-calorie options there than other drive-through places. And untrue. I frequently eat there and not once has it made me sick. I was thinking this exact thing today. I never really had the runs from Taco Bell. Though I did apologize to one of the ghouls at Howl O Scream cause I screamed in his face, and just had Taco Bell nachos just prior going to the event. Nacho breath and all. This and Mexican food as a whole. I just let them know I don't have that issue and they might want to consult a doctor. I just got back to America and I remember this joke from high school. I'm in my 30s now and I've eaten there twice in the last 2 weeks. Yes, I'm going next week too, and I don't have any stomach aches or nothing. I feel the same, but also in general to Mexican food. Oh, you just had a burrito, you're about to shit like crazy. I only ever hear it from non-Mexican people and it's so annoying. Back when they made their meat and it had so much grease it did kind of fuck me up, but not since they went cheap AF in the late 80s. This was a really fun and joy-bringing joke in the early 2010s, and I also agree with you that today it's past its expiration date. I've ate at Taco Bell many times before and I've never had diarrhea once from it. IDK, why Taco Bell is so hated on. When gas prices were super high, I could go to Taco Bell and get gas for only $1.39. OP has some serious beef. Hopefully not from Taco Bell though. But it's not a joke. Now Chipotle on the other ready to buy a new toilet. I have IBS and I actually have wonderful bowel movements after Taco Bell. Never got sick from Taco Bell. Let's talk about the terrible things Chipotle has done to me though. Oh man, you're gonna get a tapeworm. I found a maggot in my Taco Bell. That was 5 years ago, I since have boycotted them. They never got my order right anyway. I mean, who put rice on one side of the burrito, beans in the middle, and cold sour cream on the end? Diarrhea from Taco Bell is painfully unfunny. Who has told this joke a million times? And where do people deported from Earth go? To their home planet? People still do this? This felt old 30 years ago. I never understood the joke, just don't eat way too much Taco Bell and you won't have digestive issues. But no, you fuckers scarf down a whole 12 PC party box of tacos and expect you to be fine. Shrug medium light skin tone emoji modifier #hash you're doing it to yourselves. It's not even true. Overused and painfully unfunny. Me after eating Taco Bell.
Am I the asshole? For not helping my little brother out when he got sick at a family wedding. I am 23 and my brother Ryan went to a family wedding yesterday. To cut to the chase. He's an overeater. This has always been an issue, but as of lately since he moved out it's skyrocketed. During the wedding I noticed he was eating an abnormal amount of food. First he went to an all-you-can-eat candy table and filled his plate to the top with candy. Then he ended up going back and forth from the candy table to the buffet. I noticed he went back and forth at least 3 times with full plates. I decided to walk over to him and say something because it was out of control. I went over to him and warned him that he's overeating and that he might get sick again like he has in the past. He got mad at me for bringing up his past and told me to mind my business. I decided to ignore him and go to the dance floor. A half hour later I see him briskly walking over to me with a horrified look on his face. He pulled me aside and right away I noticed something was wrong and he smelled. He told me to follow him to the bathroom and I realized as we were walking there that he was holding his ass, walking weird and smelling like shit. I immediately scolded him and flat out asked if he shit his pants. He said wait until we get in the bathroom, but I snapped and started saying what the hell is wrong with you? Once we got to the bathroom he told me to block the door and I said no other people need to use this. He said he has to clean his pants and if I can't block the door while he does it then to get someone else to help him. At the point I was so mad I said fuck no, I'll just mind my own business then and went to walk out. As I was walking out, our grandpa walked in and saw him taking off his pants to run it under the sink. Our grandpa just looked at us both and walked out. I walked out too because I was so embarrassed to be associated with this. Somehow it spread and I heard people whispering about it and some even laughing. He ended up leaving and not going to the family brunch today. I never wanted to be involved in this and I tried to warn him. I'm upset because he's not answering my texts and just want this to be forgotten. Your brother needs counseling. Not the asshole. He's an adult. He refused to listen to your warning. Having an incredibly embarrassing moment may be his rock bottom to realize he needs some help. You didn't announce it over the DJ microphone. It sounds like Grandpa may have let it slip, which that's on him. Not the asshole, though it does sound like your brother needs medical attention. 19-year-olds don't just poop themselves. Especially not with toilets readily available. Info was this plate of candy the sugar-free kind. Because if he didn't know, eating a bunch of it is basically taking a laxative. Eating disorder alert. Not the asshole. That's disgusting. He 19. Not a freaking toddler. This is on him and you did nothing wrong. I'm upset because he's not answering my texts and just want this to be forgotten. I don't know that you are an R. But how did you think he was going to react? You left him to an embarrassing situation and because of that his grandfather saw and gossiped about it. You want it to be forgotten. Don't you think he does too? It's much more embarrassing to him. You didn't owe him to help him. Especially after warning him. But don't expect that he's going to be happy about your refusal or be ready to forgive you for not doing so. 19 years old and eating so much candy he uncontrollably shit himself at the table. There is some serious problems here. Either physical and/or psychological. X200B. This is not normal, let alone healthy. This isn't your problem. But he needs help. Not the asshole. You weren't kind. But not an asshole. You tried to tell him not to eat so much. You've tried to tell your parents there is a problem. They chose not to listen. You didn't have it in you at that moment to deal with the actual shit. Hopefully this will be dealt with now. After this the problem is out in the open. Give your brother a time to get over the embarrassment. Nah. It's a difficult situation. It really looks like your brother might have an eating disorder. It's possible there were laxatives involved here. Not just overeating. So I'm reluctant to call him an R. In the moment. Walking out was okay, he was sick, but is also an adult and you warned him. It was just bad timing that Grandpa saw it. That part was not intentional. And I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you wouldn't have gone and talked about the incident with other guests. Any chance he's abusing laxatives as part of his ed? If so, he needs specialized help. Not the asshole. Wow. That's tough. Not the asshole. You tried to help him by heading it off. He told you to back off. You weren't kind. But you weren't cruel. Further, he and your parents refused to seek help for it. He shat his pants and he can sit in it. Maybe this will be a wake-up call. All he wanted was you to watch the door. Not the asshole, but you could have blocked the door. Not your responsibility and you've discussed it. Him. He needs help from a professional. He's in a full-blown disorder and EDs are the deadliest mental health diagnosis. Please talk to your parents. They need to attempt to intervene ASAP. Not the asshole. He got mad at you for trying to help earlier and then went to you for help. People saying he's your brother and you betrayed his trust. You never agreed to help him, so how could you betray his trust? Anyway, at 19 he isn't a kid anymore. He needs some help, but if he's not willing to seek it and your parent are in denial, this isn't your issue. Regardless of who Tar is, how could you possibly expect him not to be mad at you now? I am not passing judgment because it sounds like your brother has an eating disorder. Have your parents ever sought out help for him with this? At 19 I know that he is an adult. But it sounds like this has been an issue for a while. Your parents may be partially to blame for never addressing this. He tried to rinse shit out of his pants at a wedding. He really thought he was about to go back out there and enjoy the rest of his day after rinsing shit out of his pants. This is actually insane. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. My oldest is autistic, so I have to keep an eye on him because he tends to overeat. Or eat too quickly, then he will get sick. You warned your brother and your parents are in denial. While yes, it is nice to help family, he refused your help the first time when you warned him not to go overboard. Not the asshole. Sometimes it takes situations like this to realize the problem. Hopefully he learns from this. He can't dictate for you when you should or shouldn't care. Not the asshole. He's an adult and either needs professional help to learn self-control or needs to figure it out in his own. Not the asshole. Sometimes the finding out is what it takes to cure the need to fuck around. Not the asshole. He told you to mind your own business. The real are your parents. You said this has been an issue for some time and is worse now that he moved out. Eating to the point you are sick or crap on yourself is an eating disorder. And your parents should have gotten him help long ago. Hell with family like you who needs an enemy. Your brother has a problem and instead of helping him you judged him, and now you have the audacity to be upset that he's not answering your texts. You're the asshole. Not the asshole, since he explicitly told you to mind your own business after you warned him and you did. However, do not for one moment think that this will ever be forgotten. Am I the asshole? for putting an outside lock on my bathroom to prevent my wife from using it. My wife and I bought a house together about 6 months ago. This is our first time living together. Our house is an old American house that has been reformed many times. As a consequence of this, it has a silly layout where there are 2 bathrooms right next to each other that share the same wall. When we pulled the trigger on buying it, we made an agreement that I'd take the bathroom on the left with the shower and she'd take the bathroom on the right with a bathtub. Hers is much more spacious than mine. I soon learned though that my wife preferred to use my bathroom, but only to defecate. She'll go pee or take a bath or do her makeup in her bathroom. But when the time comes to have a bowel movement, she only wants to use my toilet. I usually wouldn't mind this, but the issue is that she sits very far forward on the seat, which leaves streaks in the bowl virtually every time she goes. I first tried approaching this civilly by asking why she used my bathroom. She gave me a vague answer about preferring it. Then I asked if she could at least sit back a bit more. She said it was none of my concern how she sat on the toilet. I offered to change bathrooms with her, to which she said no thanks. Then I asked her to stop using it and she said it was her house too, so she should be allowed to go wherever she wants. I'm honestly tired of opening the toilet lid to see her stool stuck to the bowl. The day before yesterday I installed a lock on the door that I could open with a key. At first she didn't seem to take the hint. She asked me for a key for the bathroom, to which I said no. Then as she really had to go, she started to panic and asked me again and again to open it. I told her that she has a perfectly good toilet in her bathroom. She finally relented but came out of the bathroom extremely upset with me. She's been ticked off and demanding that I remove the lock since. Was I out of line here? Not the asshole. How utterly bizarre. Both her insistence on using your toilet and her apparent refusal to clean up after herself. WTF, why is she being weird and gross? Tell her to clean up after herself, not the asshole. Not the asshole, why can't she defecate in her own toilet? Does she not want to clean up her own mess? That's disgusting. Man. Start going to in her toilet. Why didn't you just start going to crap in her toilet? I have a feeling that would have solved your problem. She would probably much rather clean after herself than you. Then as she really had to go, she started to panic and asked me again and again to open it. This line really has me wondering why she would panic. That is a bizarre reaction to the situation. As always, communication is the key. Sit down with her to discuss this. She said it was none of my concern how she sat on the toilet. Well, yes it is. If she is leaving her stools on your toilet for you to look at. Would you agree to her using your bathroom if she agreed to clean the toilet every single time? WTF, is this some kind of power move she is trying to pull? Anyway, not the asshole, you guys had an agreement and she is going back on it with no real explanation why. Not the asshole, unless you don't look into why your feral spouse isn't fully house-trained yet. Her prefrontal cortex should by now have the capacity for her to understand that adults don't leave their scat trails in toilets. Not the asshole. She is obviously using your bathroom to shit in because she doesn't want the mess smell in her bathroom. You've talked with her about it and she won't be reasonable. So, sure, put a lock on the outside. I don't get why you guys have your own bathrooms. But whatever. That being said, this doesn't sound like it's going to be a good marriage if you can't even work out shitting arrangements. My dude. I was all set to ream you a new one. Based on your title. But your wife is just rude and disrespectful. And gross. Lock away and tell her to scrub her own skid marks out of her own toilet. Or not. It's literally her own shush tea show. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. Don't all adult people clean the toilet if it gets dirty after using it? This would drive me crazy in a relationship. Not the asshole. It sounds like your wife doesn't want to deal with her own mess. Wow. That's not gonna last. She doesn't want to clean the toilet. She doesn't want to get her toilet dirty. You can't cope with that. I wouldn't either. Man. Don't be mad at me. But I think she's an entitled and selfish woman. Run as quick as you can. Not the asshole. You tried to solve this problem in many different ways. Nothing worked. If I said YTA, I would feel obligated to suggest a better way to resolve this, and I can't find one. Not the asshole. That's gross. Why can't she flush properly? Why can't she at least clean up after herself? She started to panic. Does she have some sort of bathroom trauma, or does she simply not want to clean a toilet bowl? Has she considered changing her diet if her own poop is so offensive to her? Very, very odd. Where was she living before? Has she always had a poop-only bathroom at her old place? Not the asshole, but something's up with your wife. I'm guessing some sort of anxiety OCD issue that she's too embarrassed to admit to. Doesn't make it your problem though. I'd keep the lock on the door until she's willing to see a counselor. Not the asshole. I would explain clearly to your wife what your personal bathroom boundaries are and not go back on them, and keep the lock on since she has no respect for your space. Also maybe wonder a bit why you're with someone who purposely makes other people deal with her feces. I'm screeching, rolling on the floor, laughing, rolling on the floor, laughing, rolling on the floor, laughing, rolling on the floor, laughing. I have absolutely no advice to de-escalate the situation because I thankfully have no experience with grown-ass adults who don't understand that you don't just mess up someone's toilet like that and act innocent. She's clearly doing it on purpose because the idea of pooping in her own loo drives her to tears, so she is very clearly aware of what she's doing to you. If she refuses to act like an adult, IDK. Buy her a litter box maybe. My wife and I bought a house together about 6 months ago. This is our first time living together. This section alone spells disaster. You're not the asshole, but oh boy is this not over for you. Tears of joy. Not the asshole. If she can't use a toilet brush, it's either the lock or you doing the same to her bathroom. Toilet wars ahead. Start pooping in hers and leave it in the toilet. When she complains, tell her that she said the whole house with hers to do whatever she wanted with, so you assumed it was the same for you too. And when she asks you to clean it, say why you never cleaned your poop off of the toilet in my bathroom. If she is so mad about you asking her to use her own, are you going to do as a couple when you have a real problem? This is not good. This is a prime example of a red flag. You are getting some great advice. Start changing things now before stuff like this becomes acceptable. Good luck. Intar. She's being pretty hurtful. It's like I feel superior to you so much so that I won't shit in my bathroom. Instead, I defecate in your bathroom and leave shit behind for you to see and smell. I don't know what kind of power trip she's on, but it's weird and disrespectful. You literally have 2 bathrooms and she will only shit in yours. Just a real dick move.